It's time for Living with Victory, a program of hope and encouragement brought to you by Friends of Compassion and listeners like you. Now here's your host, President of Compassion for Kids, Tony Giorgio, with today's message of perseverance.
Welcome to Living with Victory. I'm your host, Tony Giorgio, proving that life isn't about waiting for the storms to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. It's called perseverance. Support for this ministry comes from listeners and friends like you. I am available to speak at your events, youth group, women's group. Just call us 828-926-4600 for information. By the way, the opinions expressed on this show today are the opinions of your host only. Yours truly, not the radio station and not the organization. Today's program, we're going to continue a theme that we've had for the last few weeks, and it's about speaking out, using your freedom of speech. It's strange how God works in mysterious ways. I did a whole thing on the utility issue for the last few weeks that was in Florida and how we fought them and what they did to kids by turning their lights off and all of that. Lo and behold, I read in the paper here in North Carolina, the energy company here has taken over another company, Duke Energy is buying out Progress Energy, and now they're petitioning the North Carolina Utility Commission for an 18.6% hike in rates. I don't care where you are in the United States, this is for you, because you, as a citizen, have the right, the freedom to speak. You find something of an injustice, something that affects you, and they're asking you to speak, then you should get out and speak. Just to bring it into focus here, remember that we are guided by the Lord Almighty. He is our protector. He is our leader. And I have a passage from Psalms 18:29 that I'd like to read you that sort of brings it into play and makes you know where your strength is coming from. For by you I can run against the troop, and by my God I can leap over a wall. As for God, his way is perfect. The word of the Lord is proven. He is a shield to all who trust in him. So when you step out, remember, you're not stepping out alone. That's one thing, that's for sure. You've got him behind you. And in this case here, you know, we're in an area here that's mostly agricultural and very little industry, and there's a lot of people out of work. This situation with this Duke Energy would hurt a lot of people. And I'm sure where you are, you've had situations like this. And when they have public hearings, they want to hear from you. Like this public commission here wants to hear from people in the state, for or against, whatever. They want your comments. So don't sit back and let the next guy do it, because you know what? The next person's not going to do it. He's going to say the next person will do it. We've done this down through the ages. It's not a good thing. You get out there and stand up for your rights, because you know it's coming to the point where you lose them if you don't use them, and that's what it is. It's like muscle. If you don't tone it up, it's gone, isn't it? And I don't mean violence. I don't mean physicalness. I mean step up to the plate and exercise your right as a citizen of this country in whatever situation, because God is your leader. Jesus is with us. Just remember that, and do the right thing. I emphasize all the time, if you don't use your freedom of speech, they're going to take it away little by little. Look what's happening around us right now. I mean, we have a critical period because we've got an election coming up, a presidential election. And you know, if you sit back and you've complained, don't complain after it's over with and say, you know, he's not good or she's not good or this isn't right, that's not right. Get out there. And in situations like this with public hearings and all, if you can write a note, send them a note. They want to hear from you. And later on in the show, if you have a pen or pencil, I will give you telephone numbers here in North Carolina for the North Carolina Utility Commission. I will also give you the address, but it's a long one. We have posted it on our website for you North Carolinians who want to write. It's up there with the instructions on the home page. Write to them and just let them know that you're not happy about 18.6% increase. It's not a good thing. In this situation here with what we have in North Carolina, it's really something that has to be addressed. And anywhere you are, if you have situations like this, you should address it, because you know what it shows? It shows your faith in action. You're putting your faith into action. Yeah, I believe. Yeah, Christ is the King. And then you sit back and you let things happen that just destroy things around you. That's not good. That's not good. Faith has to be put into action to do anything. Faith without works is dead. So with this situation, let's not do that. Let us show our faith and get out there and do the right thing. I'll tell you how, this almost chokes me up. I just can't believe that this utility is asking for this increase. I mean, I researched on the internet. I went to Forbes.com and I went to a couple of other sites that give salaries of executives. Let's start there. I'm figuring that anybody who's listening to me isn't making 16 or 17 million a year. If you are, God bless you, and I appreciate having you. But this situation here is deplorable, and it was the same thing in Florida when we checked on the utilities back then and their leadership. There's probably 18 directors and officers of this Duke Energy. The president, CEO, James E. Rogers, his income for last year, with all his perks and all, was $8,815,181. That's the CEO, President James E. Rogers of Duke Energy. Then you come along to a Mark E. Manley, who is the Chief Legal Officer and Corporate Secretary, $3,084,440. That's his take for last year. There's also a board of directors. Now, they do things, I guess, that they get paid extra for, when they consult and different things. This person here, Philip R. Sharp, has earned fees paid in cash. This is a utility who's looking for 18.6% increase in our rates. Dr. Sharp made in cash payments last year $116 million. You're working 3 jobs. You're making maybe $10 to $14 an hour. Maybe in other states you're doing $20 an hour. Nothing like this. This is the same utility. Here's another one, the Chief Financial Officer. Since 2006, this Lynn J. Good has made $2,963,338. I think I've proven the point. And when it comes to Dr. Sharp here, in 2008, in his fees and what he was paid, 2008 he made $218,449,000. In 2009 he made $208,600,000. To 2010, his total income was $216,971,000. This is almost absurd. I wonder, and I'm not saying I'm for it, against it, but I wonder if we shouldn't listen to what is happening with the Wall Street debacle right now and that protest against the corporate gurus. I just read you one company. I happened to stumble across another one by accident, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the 3M Corporation. His salary last year was over $19 million. Where are we going here? People of North Carolina, if you don't open your mouth, if you don't get out there to one of these hearings, and you don't send a letter, wow, man, shame on you. They don't need this. They're raking us over the coals. Check your facts out a little bit. This United States of America is for the people, by the people. That's what it is. It's governed and it's for the people, by the people. When you think of not doing something, remember what they're taking away. They're taking it out of your mouth. They're taking it out of your children's mouth. The food, the well-being. What are we becoming? A third world country? Gee, thanks, Mr. Politician. Thanks for nothing. But we look to the Savior. He's not called the Savior for nothing. Jesus Christ hung on a cross and bled for us, saved us, preserved us, and made us whole. He took the brunt of it. Should we not be able to simply step out a little bit and take a little discomfort by maybe writing a little note, by going to a public meeting? I understand not everybody's like me. I can get up there and I can talk to somebody and I can do this and that with my big mouth. Some people can't. All you got to do is put it on paper. Just write them a little note. They love that. And you know your local politician, they'd love to hear from you. I'll tell you, this is the time, and I guess I get a little too passionate over this thing because we're too lackadaisical in what we're doing. We're Christians. We're not troublemakers. We're Christians. And by God, this country has to be by God, not by the politician, or we're not going to have a country. Because there's people like this greed, these $20 billion of income here, close to $20 billion this utility in North Carolina is making. All right, close to $15 billion, excuse me. They are asking for 18.6% more. Hey, why don't they take a cut in pay? We get laid off of jobs. We have to go on unemployment. Shops close down. We're out of jobs. They're making one person do the job of 14 people. This executive making his $8-9 million, he's getting it all. He could probably pay for 3/4 of that staff in that company. And 17 other people in this company making that kind of money? Absurd. Who do they think we are? You can see what's happening. They're wiping out the middle class, number one, and now we've got England all over again. We've got the royalty and we've got the peasants. Not a good thing. Now, I'm going to give you a telephone number, and if you have a pencil, I'll give you a minute to write this down. This is to the North Carolina Utility Commission. And, hey, you know, if you're our neighbors in Georgia, in South Carolina, you want to give them a call, go ahead and call and tell them you don't like it either. You're part of the United States. This is part of the country. We wouldn't mind if you did call them. But the number here at the North Carolina Utility Commission is 1-866-380-9816. Okay, that's 1-866-380-9816. The address is the North Carolina Utilities Commission, 4326 Mail Service Center, Raleigh, North Carolina, 27699-4325. The subject is Duke Energy rate increase, and the code is E like Edward -7 sub SUB 989. This is Tony Giorgio. We love you. Have a great week.
You've been listening to Living with Victory with your host, motivational and inspirational speaker, Tony Giorgio. Support for Living with Victory comes from Friends of Compassion and listeners like you. Your tax-deductible donations can be sent to Compassion for Kids, P.O. Box 1982, Maggie Valley, North Carolina, 28751. Tony is also available to speak to your group or organization. You can call him at 828-926-4600. Join us again next week at this time for another uplifting story of dancing in the rain.
Jesus is with me when the storm clouds gather. He's standing by my side.